Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another live broadcast of Jacob's Ladder. I am your host, Jacob Israel, and I am back fresh from Dan's end of the year party where I was dancing all night. But I have a show that I can't wait to share with all of you because everything's so strange. Take a look at this thumbnail. Oh yeah, the Monolith has reappeared. Do you remember the Monolith that popped up right before the old wackadoo came out? The Monolith, which I did a couple of shows about, having to do with, 2001 Space Odyssey. Every time that the Monoliths popped up, there was like an advance in human evolution. I hope that I think the camera's a little better today. I don't know. I'm getting there. It's, I don't know what I'm doing. So, anybody wants to give me some advice, let me know in the comments section. But we're entering a new Earth. U.S. debt clock. I don't know if you're following it. Put out a post a couple of days ago, which is linked to a couple of things that are happening. I had said that we were going to enter into a time where, things were going to be kind of course corrected. And course correction seems to be the thing. And exactly today pretty much is proof that God is kind of moving in the land, as the Ten Commandments are now law in a certain state. A lot of weird things. You know what a monolith is? The very first monolith that ever appeared in Scripture, it was Jacob. He created a monolith. It was a stone. God spoke to him, and he the stone that he was sleeping on, he set it up as a pillar, as a monument, as a monolith that God was in this place. It was a reminder. A monolith is also what the Ten Commandments were written on. They were monuments. 10 Commandments, monuments. So the fact that there's a new monolith that just popped up in the Las Vegas, Nevada area out of the blue, which is connected to things that we did in the past, and the fact that now the 10 Commandments are legal, it's like it's illegal if you're not, you have to go to school, they have to be in the classroom. Everybody in that state needs to see the 10 Commands. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? I think we're making progress. This is the direction we're in. The madness with Princess Kate. Kate came back for the Troop to Color, which is the king's birthday. It was his birthday, and they did the big event. They probably spent some millions of dollars. They got jets flying, and they got colored smoke, and it's a big ritual. And she stepped out looking all dapper and all pretty, and creating a wake of conspiracy in her appearance because everybody was freaking out about the way she looked. You look in that thumbnail, that's My Fair Lady in the background. If you didn't know this already, it's very interesting. My Fair Lady is it's an old school musical based on a book, I think it's by Shaw, called Pygmalion. And in the musical, My Fair Lady, there's a bet that's made. Hey, I bet you I could take a Cockney, not the smartest girl, and turn her into a duchess. And this is where we get the rain from Spain, lands mainly on the plain as Spain is being flooded. It's just interesting because, ironically, Princess Catherine, Princess Kate, also played that role when she was 11. We're going to dig into all of this. And we're going to even get into WWE's newest faction and how it's connected to a show that I did a while ago with Winnie the Pooh. As Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey Episode 2 is now out. But let's start off with the Monolith, because the Monolith is fun. The Monolith stuff is fun. We got a lot of people here already. That's interesting at 4 o'clock on a weekday. Hit the like, will you? Give it a old like. I promise you're going to like the show. So, this is the Monolith, and it pops up. Even CNN's talking about they're like aliens, artists, pranksters. What's the deal? Another mysterious monolith appears. And if you remember correctly, this was like a big thing back, right around the time, right around 2020 and everything else. Did shows on this. Actually, because of these monoliths, I had kind of surmised. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't have all the information, but I like to look at things and I kind of speculate. I think life is fun. You know, I'm not like a crazy person. I think it's interesting to question and to look deeper. And I'm a man of great faith. So of course my faith comes into play as well. So when these monoliths appeared, of course, I remember that they're connected to the vow that Jacob made back in the day, the monolith. That Jacob's pillow was the monolith that King Charles was crowned on, coronated on. It's been that way for a long time. We don't really know where that stone of destiny really is, if it was a fake or because it was stolen at one point in time, but this is a big deal. It's a big deal because historically speaking, from when Nebuchadnezzar came in during Jeremiah the prophet's day, because Israel had gotten so corrupt, they had to be overthrown. I feel like this is what's happening with the United States right now. Well, Nebuchadnezzar comes in, and what ended up happening back then, you may not know this, is that Israel and the tribes of Israel, they were all scattered. Jeremiah and Princess Tefi, who ends up becoming like a princess in Ireland, they all kind of like got on boats and they left. And they landed, ironically, England, Ireland, Scotland. So, there's a very interesting connection here, even to Donald Trump, who Scotland is very close to the man's heart. All of this prophetic stuff is like literally playing out, and I find it interesting that these monoliths start appearing. Now, the monoliths first appeared. Now, this is weird. A lot of people don't know this. If you've heard about the monolith that appeared in Las Vegas, you probably are aware it's very much connected to that movie Space Odyssey. But what you may not know is this started back in like 2001, okay? There was this group, there were a bunch of artists, and they did this wrestling event, wrestling. Like I used to work for wrestling. I was the writer between 99 and 2001. I wasn't a multi-millionaire. I made like 75 grand, but I was like the head writer, me and one other guy, when WWE became, when WWF became WWE, and it was very, very popular. But that's when this mysterious monolith appeared in Seattle in 2001. And it was appearing all over the map. And they came to understand that it was a group called the Apes of Wrath. And it was a bizarre Apes of Wrath wrestling event that was funding this evolution of mankind, they said. Like there was some kind of extraterrestrial involvement. It was a very weird thing. You're going to have to go back and watch those videos that I did. But it's very strange because every time these monoliths appeared, like in the movie Space Odyssey, something big happened. And I feel like something big's about to happen again. Because as this monolith appears, the monoliths of the Ten Commandments are now law. We're going to get into that. But back in 2001, this was something that was like kind of all the rage. And this group was behind it, this group of artists. This group of artists which may or may not be behind the one that just appeared recently in Las Vegas, which I'm told was a little weird because they looked at this thing and they said there's something strange to it. Now, here's what's you probably didn't know was just recently we had another obelisk appear. It was when I went to Disney, in fact. But this obelisk, this monolith, appeared in the corpses of about 66% of humanity, mankind. So somewhere along the line of when that first monolith popped up, something happened. And now 66% of human corpses contain this new, they call it an obelisk, a monolith entity. It looks like a monolith. That's why they call it that. And it only is found in 66% of the corpses. But it's somehow connected to zombies, believe it or not. I covered this. And what's weird is the fact that I covered this not too long ago. And so let me just play that video. It's a short one. It's actually pretty cool. I did this when I was away because, you know, you always got to work. And so here we go. So 99 days ago, a monolith appeared on a Welsh hill. Now, why is the Welsh hill important? Well, it's because that was what was going down with Kate, Princess Kate back in the day. Now, today's news of a new monolith that appears in Las Vegas is ironically placed in an area that I put in my video. And then I wrote, "Don't be a zombie," because this is the monolith that appeared. Very strange. All right, so let me come on over here, and I'm just going to play this for you because, you know, I think you're going to benefit. And this is actually a pretty cool piece. So enjoy it, okay?
I think there's going to be a lot of breakthroughs on the medical front, particularly around the synthetic mRNA. Although you can basically do anything with synthetic RNA, DNA. It's like a computer program. So, you know, I think with effort that's not too crazy, you could probably stop aging, reverse it if you want. You can basically do it. You can turn someone into a freaking butterfly if you want with the right DNA sequence. You can basically do anything with synthetic RNA. You can basically do it. You can turn someone into a freaking butterfly if you want with the right DNA sequence.
A large single upright block of stone, especially one shaped into or serving as a pillar or monument. Do you want to hear the remaining one?
fake news.
Maybe all this stuff is about changing us. Who knows?
You can basically do anything with synthetic RNA, DNA. It's like a computer program. So these are, you can basically do it. You can turn someone into a freaking butterfly if you want with the right DNA sequence.
Forced human evolution? What is that about? That doesn't sound good. Very strange. Very strange how just the world is, I find it to be very interesting. And I find the fact that we have all of these things just popping up out of the blue, I think we should pay attention to them. Because, I know rituals are a thing. Now, the summer solstice. Do you know what that is? Who knows what the summer solstice is? Give me a like. Give me a like if you know. All right? Give me a like and leave a comment below. Longest day of the year. That's tomorrow. So, do you find it interesting that we have a lot of interesting things happening leading up to it? Oh, and my goodness, are they interesting? So strange. A monolith. Ironically, I was going to do a video on the Mandela effect. The 2 tablets of stone that Moses, when he went up to the mountain, God said, come to me. I want to be your God. And the people are like, nah, Moses, you go. You tell us what to do. And out of the hardness and wickedness of their hearts, Moses ended up writing laws that wasn't really approved by the Lord. Jesus said this when talking about marriage. He said, out of the hardness of your heart, Moses wrote those laws. But this is not the way it is in the kingdom of heaven. So the Torah, the law, if you will, not all of it is, it's kind of like, things kind of happen at the time, and people were like, we got to come up with a law. That's basically what Jesus was saying. The 10 Commandments, on the other hand, this was given on 2 tablets of stone. Ironically, in the King James Bible, the word tablet is no longer there, which is strange because I have a 1611 King James, and it's now table on 2 tables of stone. It's not the same thing. In the NIV, it says tablet. For whatever reason, the King James Version it's not the King James Version that I remember reading. But I can tell you one thing, it's interesting. Because those tablets, tables, if it's a Mandela effect, I don't know. These tablets of stone, they're monoliths. They're monuments. They're pillars. Just like the stones that are found at Stonehenge, which is basically like everybody gets together, all the witches and all the druids and all the, all the people that they'll do their things. I think Paris Jackson, Michael Jackson's daughter, I think she got together with a bunch of witches and, a couple of years ago and topless, did things for the moon. Stonehenge is a big deal. In occult circles, Stonehenge is like the bomb. Stonehenge, it's a bunch of monuments. Stonehenge is a monument. It is a monolith, if you will. A bunch of pillars standing up. And wouldn't you know it, bunch of activists. I don't know how to speak today. I went out with the Dan last night. We had our big party. The two of us. She's in the other rooms, like laying down. It's like the first time we went to bed at 11 o'clock. We usually go to bed about 8. She wakes up 3:30 in the morning. I wake up at like 5:45. We're not used to staying out late. And I got up this morning and I was tired. But tomorrow's the big day. It's like the Super Bowl for all the occultists. And, if you're an occultist, that's fine. I'm glad you're here. But these climate protesters, they were arrested because they basically spray painted the Stonehenge monument, Stonehenge Monolith, orange. Orange. Orange is that color. We did shows about this. I don't know why I always say we. It's really just me. I don't have a team. I did shows about orange. Remember I did the show Orange Jesus with Trump? Orange is a color for warning. It's a warning sign. It's a warning sign. Every time you see the orange pop up somewhere, something happens. It's very interesting. But these climate protesters, they spray painted the Stonehenge monument. And the incident came just a day before. So it's today, I guess early morning. Like 4,500-year-old stone circle that celebrates the solstice. It's the longest day of the year in the Northern Hemisphere. English Heritage, which manages the site, said this was extremely upsetting. Now, from what I understand, it wasn't like permanent paint. It was like powder. So they were at least... They knew that, the rain's going to wash it down. It's not like a big deal. I don't think it's going to be stained. You never notice that these big events, they don't actually do anything that really damages anything. They're like, they come in, or if they're going to come into like a museum, and they have their weird T-shirts and, they make their signs, and they come and they make their announcements as they throw like tomatoes or tomato soup at like a Van Gogh. Nothing's ever disturbed. Everything's behind glass. And nothing was disturbed here, but they did get arrested. The Wiltshire police said the pair were arrested on suspicion for damaging one of the world's most famous prehistoric monuments and a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Stonehenge was built on the flatlands of the Salisbury Plain in stages starting 5,000 years ago, so they say. I don't know. I saw some video where they were using cranes, but it could be AI. You don't know what to think. What do you think? Do you think Stonehenge was built back then? I heard it was built like Kelly Powell. I heard it was built in the 60s, and that history is whatever you're told. But it is what it is. I don't know. Maybe it's been there a long time. I've never been. Been to Ireland, though. But this was a big deal. And let me show you, let me see if I can actually play you some of this, because it's actually pretty funny watching them spray paint. Here we go. Make sure that the audio is there. I mean, who does this? Like, yeah, we're going to stop the oil. We're going to come in. Ooh, look at me. Look at me. I'm going to spray paint. Now, look at this guy's shirt. He's got the one eye symbolism there, right? That's the skull, the one eye symbolism, one eye's closed. But, nothing to see here. It's probably just a normal occurrence. And, and this one Samaritan came in, this good Samaritan, he's like, cut it out. Please don't put orange dust on the monoliths. Meanwhile, I mean, clearly it's being taped from behind. There were some great images. There's a close-up. Why is it just me, or does this feel like everything is such cap? Like everything is such nonsense? I feel like everything that they share with us, I feel like it's all so set up and so staged. Today I saw like a gym in Saudi Arabia that was like all women, and like they were wearing sunglasses, and they were all like, they looked like Casper the Ghost. They all had some, I'm just feeling like it doesn't seem like reality to me, because I have very devout Muslims that, live across the street and I've seen them work out. But hey, so this is what's happening. Just stop oil. And remember what Scripture says about oil? Scripture says that the oil of God is the wisdom of God. Interesting. And so they're spraying a warning. They're spraying the orange on the monument. And orange is a symbol of warning. Here, if you remember correctly, back in 2023? Do you remember when they spray painted the Christmas tree orange? Let's see if we can play this. I don't know if you remember this. They did the same thing to a Christmas tree. Spray painted it orange. This is when I was doing my Orange Jesus video with Trump. It's a warning. It's a warning. And once again, what is it? What are we being warned against? Now, you're going to have to tell me. You're going to have to tell me in the comments section, because it's just, why do they choose orange paint all the time? Huh? What is it about the orange paint that has everybody so kooky? There's that video that I did a little while ago about the Orange Jesus. There's Trump in the center. Now, if you look to the right, that's a post, which I think is really cool. There's the album cover, Supertramp, and it's reversed. The image is reversed, and you'll notice that she's dressed in orange and she's holding an orange drink. And the orange drink, if you look at the image reversed, it looks like September 11th, and it looks like the twins. And if you read the post, it says, notice what the color this woman is wearing came out before September 11th, a clear example of predictive programming. So we have that, which is weird. And we also have a lot of other orange Trump stuff going on, a lot of orange Jesus stuff going on. The Economist magazine, back in 12, 21, 23, around the same exact time, they were painting a Christmas tree orange. The Economist magazine declared President Trump is the Christmas angel. You better watch out. You better not pout, I said. Can you find the orange Jesus at the top of the tree? Let me blow this up so you can just get an idea. Orange angel, the Trumpster. With that star that looks like the Baphomet. It's all fun, right? We're all just having a good time. We're having a good time. Do you know what else are monoliths? Like the monolith that just appeared. The Georgia Guidestones. Do you remember those? I remember those. Remember they came out of nowhere and they were set up, and they had like the 10 commandments of like the New World Order. One of them was like maintain humanity under 500 million. Meanwhile, we're like 8 billion, right? So it's sus, right? It's sus. Well, they got blown up. They got blown up. Somebody blew them up on July 6, 2022. There was like some interesting time. It was like 1, 2, 3, 4 or something. I don't remember. It's a while ago. But those are monoliths. I find it interesting because something that I've been doing on X is, I like numbers. I think they're cool. 7-Eleven was the thing that I was talking about for a long time because it's Genesis 7-Eleven, and we had 7-Eleven with the Elon Musk. Elon Musk, he put out that post in 2022. 7-Eleven, it was a gaslight. And then 711 days in between, Trump, he ends up being guilty of 34 charges. 711 days from when he actually posted that to the Starship launch, it was 711 days. 7-Eleven was like everywhere. Remember, I just did a couple of shows on this. Well, recently it's been about what's the 411, right? Because we're about to get some information. So ironically, this is 1 year, 11 months, and 14 days. That's 41111 backwards. Maybe I'm losing it, I don't know. I think everything is somehow connected. Mathematics are a thing. So I find it coincidental that a monolith appears, 10 Commandments become a thing, and climate activists are they're spraying Stonehenge with the orange powder. Weird. But it gets weirder. Gets weirder. Gets a lot weirder because this is going to be the summer solstice. That's tomorrow, Rhonda Peterson. That's right. I'm Rhonda's favorite meatball. Every time there's a live show, she gives me the super chat. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I don't think I have the camera and the lighting perfect, but I do believe that I did a little bit better. You got to tell me if it looks good. Landon Johnson in the super chat is saying 411's been popping up. Dickie Holmes is saying 114's been popping up. Interesting, right? Tomorrow is the summer solstice. It's a big to-do. It's a big to-do. Now, if you're like a Wiccan, ooh, can we talk about that stuff? People are going to get stressed out, right? Spooky. You know, I actually dated a girl who was a Wiccan in college. She freaked me out. She She really did. It didn't last very long. I ended up in the hospital. And I ended up but she was nice. You know, like people are, hey, listen, just because people are into this practice or that practice, it's no worse than being a Roman Catholic, in my opinion. In some instances, some of these other, offshoot religions that you probably think are like demonic, all religion is a mess. All religion is a mess. So I don't want to demonize anybody. I want you all to get out of your nonsense. And I want you all to come to God. And I want you to just, go to God. You don't need somebody to give you 10 commands, right? You don't need that. You go to God. God will tell you what you should do. You have this little voice inside. You know when you should listen and when you shouldn't, when you should do things and you shouldn't. You have a voice inside of you. It's a still small voice. So I don't want people to think that I'm demonizing anybody, because I got to tell you something. I mainstream religion, I think, is just as confused and lost as any of these other things. But this is a big deal for the Wiccans. It really is. They really like this. It's the longest day and the shortest night of the year, making the pinnacle of the sun's power to fuel the growing season. And if you're into that Schumann resonance, you know the Schumann resonance has been going a little kooky. I was at the gym today. True story. I was at the gym today and I was working out and I was like, I got to tell you, I feel very strong. I didn't get a lot of sleep. I was lifting a lot heavier than I normally do, and it wasn't hurting me. It was very strange. And I thought to myself, I wonder if I'm finally getting those superpowers. I'd love to get the super and magic. There is a lot of magic, magi, magus. All comes from the same word. It means witchcraft. There's a lot of that in the land today. There's a lot of sorcery. It's freaky. It's freaky. On all levels, So when this monolith appears, which is kind of almost a little bit like you think, it's a little bit like an illusion, because it really is, because it actually looks like it's a mirrored illusion. What does this mean for us in the coming days? And you marry this illusion to the fact that the 10 Commandments now in Louisiana, it has to be displayed, or else. Now we're getting into some deep waters here. Now we're getting into some stuff that is really, really gonna shake the world up, because we're not too far away. I told everybody this. I said they're gonna change the laws. I said it's gonna be quick. Remember, for the last how long? I said, you watch. I said they shoved everything in our face for so long, it's gonna be like people are gonna be hiding. You do the wrong thing, you're going to be done with. They're already creating new laws where you put to death if you abuse a child. That's it. Quick. It's kind of like that movie. I don't know if you watched the movie Back to the Future or or the other ones. There's that scene where Marty comes over and he looks at the paper and Doc's there. And Doc's like, yeah, the law operates differently in the future. Things are a lot swifter. That's what's going on. That's what's going on. One of the expressions I use on the channel if you're new, and by the way, if you are new, I hope that you do, subscribe and check the bell for notifications, and you can click the links to get involved. Patreon or I'm on X. You want to get involved, you want to email me, all the links are in the description of the video. Okay, so the 10 Commandments, let's get into this. It has to be displayed now because this is going to be the direction we're going in. I used Handmaid's Tales a couple of years ago as the model. Think Handmaid's Tales in the future because infertility is such a thing. I could see criminals saying, I don't want to go to jail. Let me just go into the house of a wealthy person and be their handmaid. Because infertility is a thing. I mean, it's not too far-fetched to think that that could be the future because it was the past. Jacob from the Bible, he had a handmaid. Where do you think it comes from? 10 Commandments are required now to be, it is a law. And you'll see the history of the 10 Commandments monolith, because the 10 Commandments, they are a monolith, a monument. Wild. 10 Commandments, monolith, it's the law. Monolith appears out of the blue. Strange. Because it's the day we're in. Right before, So, here's weird. My birthday was June 11th. And everybody wished me happy birthday, and I was so happy. I was so thankful. So thankful for the birthday wishes and everything else. Had a great birthday. The birthday, by the way, was a special day. It was a Jewish holiday known as Shavuot, which is when God gave Moses the law, the 10 Commandments. I said that the 11th is also known in the Christian faith as the day when God gives out his Holy Spirit. And it was also the day that King Kamehameha in Hawaii is celebrated. And I wrote, first God gives the rules, then God gives the power, third God makes you a co-heir and a king. I said, not a bad day to turn 33. That's what somebody said. What, you like 33 last night? And I knew that they were being generous because I really do look like an old man. 53 though, 53 years old. The Dan, by the way. Oh, I got to show you a picture. I'm going to remind me in the live chat to show you this picture of her 30 years later from when she was teaching. It's like she doesn't age. She's so beautiful, my wife. I love her so much. I said, not a bad day to turn 53. 8 days later, the law becomes law. My birthday, I say things are changing. We're going into that direction. That's the day that the law was handed down, and then 8 days later, it's literally a law. You can't not have it in the classroom. I feel like things are going in the right direction. I do. How could I not? I don't think it's a bad thing to have the 10 Commandments. And the 10 Commandments are very easy for a person to really follow. They're very easy to understand. Shouldn't kill, shouldn't steal, shouldn't covet, shouldn't bear false witness, shouldn't lie, right? You look at all these things, unless you're in another denomination that thinks that it's okay to have idols. A lot of people have idols today. And one of them is the Princess of Wales, Catherine, who has been missing for a long time. And we've talked about it. We've wondered about it. We've concerned ourselves with it. And we felt bad about the whole thing. Because she disappeared at a weird time. Pippa, her sister, had a boyfriend who's like a duke or something. Mysteriously, right when Catherine goes missing, the duke, he's dead. of a, they called it like a blow to the head or something, but it was a gunshot wound. Strange. Catherine's mother ends up in an accident. Weirdness. A lot of weird stuff popped up. Because, supposedly she had like a stomach surgery, and some people, there was rumors she was in a coma. There was rumors that she was not even there. There was a lot of weird things going around. And if you remember correctly, to calm everybody's fears, they put out an image that was altered by AI. That if you look to the right of it, it was ironic. I took I took a screenshot at 7-Eleven. Ironic, but you see the Princess of Wales, Kate, shares her edited Mother's Day photo, and it was recalled because it was AI. AI was involved. Now, I talked a lot about Kate. There was a lot of weirdness about Kate. I actually did a video. Let me see. Where I talked about Kate and the portrait because she wore, let me see if I still have it. I don't think I have it up here. No, I don't have it up here. I don't have it up here, but that's okay. So where I do these little skits, and Vlad came and he was like, oh, the portrait, maybe it's a cry for help because she dressed up as Rosemary's Babies. She wore the dress when she brought a baby out. She, the royal portrait that her and William took, she was wearing a dress known as the vampire's wife's dress. So it was weird. Her clothing seems to always be linked to some kind of a movie that's a little weird and a little dark. And so, of course, when, we were worried about her and we're like, when's she going to show up? When's she going to show up? When's she going to show up? When we heard the news, she was going to show up for the king's birthday party. We were like, whoo, this is going to be good. But no one had a clue that she was going to look just like My Fair Lady. It's very interesting. You look at, that's the thumbnail right there, but you look at that, they look like Danielle says it's identical. You can't tell me that wasn't done on purpose. And the weird thing about this whole story is the fact that that's kind of her story too. That's kind of her story too. She literally played the part of Eliza Doolittle. She played it when she was 11 years old. She's a commoner, Cockney, and becomes a duchess. That's what the movie's about. I bet you I can make this poor regular girl a duchess. And then here we are how many years later, and she's the princess. And what's weird about all of these things, like when I heard it was happening, I said, oh, there's something going on. And why wouldn't I think that? You watch the action movies like James Bond. MI6 is like a big deal. So why is he meeting with them the day before Kate's big appearance? We were wondering this. And by we, I mean me. So I wrote on June 14th, I said, maybe prep for tomorrow. Because you see, June 14th, I knew was going to be a big day because it was Donald Trump's birthday. I didn't know that it was going to be connected to Kate. I just knew something was going to happen because there were so many connections to 7-Eleven to that date. I talked about it like a madman. But I'm not crazy. I promise. I sound a little nuts, though. I do. In a stagecoach, like her grandmother, the Queen who appeared as a hologram in a gold state coach during a pageant in 2022. So I wrote, maybe prep for tomorrow. Kate Middleton is going to be riding in a carriage. Strange. They made a big hoopla out of the whole stagecoach and the hologram of the Queen, and here we are 2 years, 11 days later, and she's gonna be going around in a stagecoach, and like she's been missing, and there's stuff that's been connected to AI, and people are already so suspicious of everything. She looked great. I saw so many pictures being shared online of like, why does she look so much younger? Why does she look so much better? She's supposed to be ill. Well, you know what? I hope she's doing great. I think she looked great. I think it's weird that she was wearing that outfit. I think a lot of things were weird. She had a very strange pin. Which fourth musketeer? He's on X. He is some. But, it was the dress was featuring the Irish Guards regimental brooch due to Kate being a colonel of the Irish Guard. But you look at the dresses together, right? It's just a little suspect, right? Like, why? This is now, we got Rosemary's Baby, we got the Vampire's Wife's dress, now we got My Fair Lady. And it turns out she knew this because she played My Fair Lady. She played Eliza Doolittle when she was a child. Daily Star covered this. It gets to a point where you got to say there's something kooky going on, right? When people are spraying monoliths orange, it's strange. People thought that this was a hologram to begin with. Speaking of holograms, now this is what's weird. Hang on a second. This is what's weird. Is a day before Kate puts out, before she showed up in the Troop to Color, which is the birthday. Before she showed up there, she put a post out where she was like posing like really nice. Let me see if I have a picture of it. She was posing so nice by a weeping willow tree. And let me see if I can find the tree for you. Here we go. And I'll blow it up a little bit. Okay. So there you go. Bottom left-hand corner. She sends this really nice picture out. Thank you, Wayne Walton, for the super chat. I see everybody. I appreciate it. Very strange that she put this out, which turned out to be, so she hadn't put out an image since she put out the AI image, which was 3 months and 3 days before it. So you got the 33, and I think that's interesting. And, that's weird, right? She puts out her first image, and she's in a weeping willow tree. Do you know what a weeping willow tree represents in the Celtic faith? Illusion, magic, witchcraft. Isn't that nuts? That's what the tree is. It's the dream tree. The dream tree. The enchantment tree. Now here's weird. Because of course I had a dream. And you could take a look right there. If you look at the, let me just move this out of the way so you can actually see everything. Let me blow this up so you can actually get a better picture. So I had a dream. If you take a look, you'll see on June 5th. Now I had this dream about Kate, and it was like her just showing up, and I didn't really know what it meant, so I didn't really want to talk about it. But then like a couple of days later, I saw somebody posting, Kate Middleton may never come back in the role that people saw her in before. And so I said, you know what? Just in case, I should remind everybody I had this dream about Kate. And so I put this little post out. I said, I had a dream about Kate just a couple of nights ago. Woke up feeling like something big with her might be revealed. This whole thing is sad. And what happens? 11 days later, she puts out that picture of her against the weeping willow tree. I have a weird dream about Kate. Hadn't talked about her in a while. Thank you, Zachariah. Zachariah says, seek the Lord for yourself, but not your own understanding. That's the truth. It's like, I can't figure this stuff. I ask God, what do you want me to say with this stuff? Try to make some heads or tails of all this interesting stuff. By the way, G squared, thank you. Thank you so much, Ali in Wonderland. Thank you for all the super chats. It really means a lot because it's just me. It's just me here. And without you, I don't know where I would be. But so here you go. 11 days earlier, I have a weird dream about Kate, and then she pops up. And 11's like the big number. June 11th. That was my birthday. 11's my birthday. 11's the big numbers. Those are the 11:11. Revelation 11:11 is like my favorite. But here's what's weird. So I put this thing out. I talk about the dream. It's connected to all the AI stuff. She puts out this beautiful picture of her against a weeping willow tree. The weeping willow tree is known as illusion and magic and the dream tree. And then I think, oh my goodness, Luma AI went live and I did this really cool video, which I thought was going to go viral. I was really surprised because I put so much effort into it. If you haven't seen my video on the dragon, the beast, and the false prophet revealed, and the 3 unclean spirits, and I marry that to 3 huge AI companies in the world, XAI, OpenAI, Meta AI, and I talk about these. It's really a video that you should watch. It's like 15 minutes, and I worked very hard. But in that video, I talk about Kate. I said, when she comes back, who's supposed to believe it? When you have this incredible masterpiece of artificial intelligence that can create videos out of nothing, that can take memes now, and it's bringing memes to life. When it's doing that, how do you not question a bunch of things? Let me play you that clip because I find it strange. A day before she comes back, and I'm talking about, here you go, Quinky Dinky Doo, yesterday's show about Luma AI Dream Machine. She's in a picture under the tree of dreams, creating footage that we believe is true, that's artificial, not real. I brought up Princess Catherine. Just strange. A day later, Kate releases her picture under a dream. And if you look over here, you'll see a tree of enchantment, sorcery, witchcraft, illusion. Strange. All right, take a listen, just so you can get an idea. Lies. It's like kind of an allegorical representation of what's happening to us every time we open up our cell phone, where we become a captive witness of what we're being told by what? These 3 largest AI companies that have been released on the world. We don't know what to believe. We don't know if what we're seeing is true. Do you know how hard it is for me to do a show today? Because there are so many videos that are released, and it turns out it didn't even happen. What happened with Kate, Princess Kate? You know, a long time ago I was worried about her, and where is she now? And then they released that image, and all of a sudden people are like, well, hang on a second, that wasn't a real image. They released the video, and they're like, hang on, that isn't her. They released another video, and everybody's like, hang on, that video seems strange. What do we believe today? What do we know to be true today? That's interesting to me. Very interesting to me that all this stuff just continues to play out in the world. 11 days later, what are the odds? What are the odds of that happening? I find it strange. But, this is the day we're in. So, do you think that it's possible that, when people are watching this footage, do you think that maybe they may go, oh, I don't know if it's real? I don't know what is real, because we're looking on our cell phones, right? And so what do we know? AI has run amok, as Landon Johnson says. And thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat, Catherine. We all need love. We all need light. I appreciate it. Strange that she once again is dressing up like a character from a movie. It's like, what is real today? Is anybody real today? Do you remember what people thought Kate looked like? She was like, there was all these different pictures that rolled out, these things that nothing added up. Nothing added up. It's just the whole thing was very suspect. But once again, this is the story we're in. This is the movie. So it makes it interesting. You may not even know about the royals and all the stuff that's going on. That's a big deal. To have like the princess who everybody loved, like being, missing. And then having all this stuff. So it's either like, A, they did that all to just get everybody to really miss her and want her back, or B, there's something else. You have to tell me what you think. I don't know. I just think it's all strange. I think it's all strange. You know what else I think is strange? You know the U.S. debt clock, debt.clock.org, where they have the running tally of things. They put out these interesting images, and I've covered a bunch of them. Eddie, who actually even told me about the Monolith first. Eddie, who is a big fan of the channel, an awesome guy. Thank you, Sandra Strain, for the super chat. I appreciate it. Eddie reached out to me because I guess he thinks that the new deck clock somehow is connected to my book. I don't know. Take a look at it. If you look to the right-hand side of it, you'll see they put this out. They have a new one up right now, but they put this one up at 111 on the 16th. And you'll see that it says a new earth into the light. And of course, the reason why Eddie sent it to me was because I've been talking about the new heaven and the new earth that we're entering into, that it's happening. But then he was like, no, you got to look closer. And then he shows me, he's like, because if you look at the bottom of it, you can see very clearly that it looks like cracked earth, like desert. There's no moisture. There's no life to it. And he, of course, sent me a picture of that's my novel, The Calling, by the way. Yeah, I do. If you're new to the channel, I'm a novelist. I'm a writer. That's actually what I'm really good at, the best at. And this novel is it's a really powerful fiction. It's an allegory, and it's by the time you're done reading it, you realize you were probably one of the characters in the story. It's a really cool book. And if you look at the center, which is the cover of it, before you start reading the book, that is the life of many people who enter into the book. By the time you finish the book, it becomes this lush, beautiful garden. There's a passage talks about when the witnesses of God rise up in the world, and the army of Joel. I think it's in Joel 2 where it says, behind them is as a desert wasteland, before them is as the Garden of Eden. And it's a picture of our life the way it's been, and our life the way it is now going to be. That's the day we're entering into. That's what these monoliths represent spiritually for us. Change. Like in the video that I shared earlier, where you hear, Elon talking about how, you could turn somebody into a butterfly by changing their DNA sequence. While people are doing things or trying to do things literally in the natural world, God is doing things in the spiritual world. That's why the 10 Commandments are now law. That's why soon prayer will be mandatory in schools. Mark my words, I've been saying it for a while. This is what has to happen. I'm not saying it's the right course of action. I'm not even saying that it's the right God that they worship. Who knows? But it's a start. It's a start. This is what a heavy hand is needed. Come hell or high water. We're in the days of the flood, right? In the days of the flood. So what happens afterwards? So it is interesting that the bottom part of it looks a little bit like the bottom of my book. And it is also kind of cool that if you look at the book, I find this cool too, is that, it kind of looks a little bit similar to in the center, and if you look at the deck clot's window, it looks like they have 6 layers, many layers, if you will. And I, kind of like many pages. I just feel like maybe Eddie kind of saw something, and I was thinking, well, that's kind of cool. I like it, but perhaps we are entering into a new time. But it's also kind of like at the same time, it's a scary time, because the book of Revelation talks about how the devil comes down into the earth, woe unto the inhabitants of the earth, because this Babylon's become a dwelling place of harlots and creeping things and like bats and all sorts of spooky stuff. But rejoice those who are in the heavens. So we got 2 sets of individuals in the planet today, and some of them are going to be entering into a time of spiritual growth. Others are going to be entering into a time of pretty dark, pretty aggressive correction. Pretty aggressive correction. That's the way I feel. So when I see WWE coming out with their new group who's following WWE, because they had this thing in Scotland. It was like the Clash at the Kingdom or something. I didn't watch it. But it was like a big deal because it was going down around the same time, and Scotland's a big deal. Like Scottish Freemasonry is a big deal. 32nd degree Scottish Freemasons, like the thing. Some people say that the Trumpsters, connected to all of that stuff. So the fact that they had this big bash in Scotland, and then we hear of this group coming out after that, this group, which is very similar to, a lot of people were kind of comparing it to that horror movie, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, which, has it's a bunch of serial killers that are like, Winnie the Pooh's a serial killer and Piglet's I did videos about this, spooky videos about this. You can take a look over here. Back on May 26th, I said, did God warn us? And I used this as a example of the story of Elijah. If you're not listening to God, what happens, right? They were mocking the prophet, and then these two bears came out and they mauled, these young men that were, basically mocking God. That's what's going to happen in the days to come. It's like if you're not going to be on track, you're going to be pushed back on track. God has a plan. He's not going to he's not going to fail you. He's not going to fail me. Out of all that was given, the son to save, he lost not one, but the son of perdition, the Antichrist spirit. That's the only thing that goes. So, ironically enough, like Danny Talks Wrestling says, WWE Raw pulled off what Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey could not. Yeah. And forgive me, I haven't kept up in all this demonic stuff. I haven't kept up on all of it, but I do know a little bit about it, and it is pretty interesting. Now, so you remember The Fiend? I talked about The Fiend long before the news organizations came out and said that people were going to start seeing demonic grimaces everywhere. I said we would see grimaces everywhere. Why? Because the Grimace Shake thing came out. Why? Because The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, returned with that spooky mask, the demonic smile mask. So it's ironic that here we jump to the future and it becomes something that is now mainstream. So when you see this coming out again, by the way, Uncle Howdy is the character that was connected to Bray Wyatt and his clan, and he's based on his uncle, Barry Windham. Spooky. They had this entrance, which was just, it was god-awful. On my X, which is at Jacob Israel 71, if you go to my X, you can go on the page and you'll see I captured their entrance. And what it was it was at an event, the lights go out, everything turns blue, and then they basically, they put the spooky music, the single piano beat, doom, doom, and they go in the back, and then you see all these weird, first you see this like demonic looking girl. Here, let me show you this demonic looking girl. Looks like she's a zombie. She crawls out right next to my logo there. She crawls out. And then you go into the back, and then you see a bunch of people that are dead. You see blood everywhere. See one guy sitting up against the wall, and it looks like his head to the back. This is, children watch this. This kind of stuff is why WWE is going to have a problem in the future, I'm telling you, because they're going down the wrong path again. They're doing this. It's dark. It's very dark. And ironically enough, I said 2 years and 23 days ago, that's 322 backwards, Order of Skull and Bones, before the WWE demonic ripoff of Winnie the Pooh in the Blood and Honey movie. I did a video about how the first movie seemed to have an eerie connection to what happened in Uvalde, because Uvalde is the honey capital of the world. So this is weird. When that group came out, it reminded me I wonder if we're going to see, God forbid, something like that happen. It would be terrible, because the last time Blood and Honey came out, that's what was connected to it. That's why I did this show. I'll just show you. If you take a look. It was a disturbing show. I actually cried in the show because of what happened. You know? Blood and Honey is a takeoff of the Promised Land, which is milk and honey. The Promised Land is a land flowing with milk and honey. The world takes it, twists it, and offers you a horror movie called Blood and Honey. Spooky. All right, so let me just play this for you, because this is, it's kind of eerie to think. Oh, and let me, before we get into that, let me just show this to you. This is Catherine. This was the first. I mean, it looks real, but once again, all these small clips, they could be AI. After you look at it, I'm not saying it is. Why would it be, right? Why would they do that? I don't know. All right, so here it is, 2 years, 23 days ago, before their ripoff. I talked about it. Take a listen. Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, May 26th. That's today's news. This is a still from Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. So what happened was this film became possible because Pooh and Piglet fell into public domain 2022. Classic tale of the bear and the honey, the blood and the honey. The honey that's not yet flowing with milk and honey. The honey capital of the world. Blood and Honey. This is a new movie that's coming out. A home invasion movie about serial killers that used to have to do with innocence and wonderful things. I don't even know what to say. So that's something, if you think about it, these terrible incidents, it's very strange that it was connected to such an event. So it's like, I hope that we don't see something like that. I want to see the world get better. I want to see good things happen. I want to see all of you come together. I want to see us all love each other. I want to see us move into a new day that I think is coming. A new day that I think is coming. And how do I know this? Because monoliths are popping up everywhere. Monoliths are popping up everywhere, and the 10 Commandments they got to be the law. It is what it is, So do me a favor, will you hit the like button for me? And will you share this channel around? And if you want, just to, this is my sponsor. This helps me out a lot, and it helps you out a lot. All their stuff, they send you these little bottles, get these little packets. It's reusable, so it's really good for the environment. They help out. Help survivors. It's a godly, Christian company, and they're big. They're getting bigger. Steven's a great guy, and he's a big fan of the channel. He's an Israelite, and he offers everybody from the channel 30% off. So if you go to trulyfreehome.com, trulyfreehome.com, that is the website, trulyfreehome.com. There's a link in the description below. You can get stuff sent to your house, and you can start, cleaning your house and not worrying about anybody down the road getting all sorts of weird things. Alan Cumby, thank you for the super chat. Do you have any Truly Free Home? Or are you using a Lysol? I got to tell you, what I like about it is I like cleaning it and not worrying if I breathe it in, or, you just feel better. Or if you get it on your skin, and it's less expensive overall. They send you a box to the house, and you can have it sent again and again and again. And you get 30% off from everybody else, and you help me out. So it's kind of like a win-win. It's a good company. It's the only one that I've ever taken. I've been on here since 2008, and this is the first time I've ever taken a sponsor for a reason. It's helpful. Get yourself a copy to Call-In. Go to Amazon.com and look up the call. Make sure that it is this cover and it is the new version that was released on Pentecost 2021 for the day we're in. Get yourself a copy, leave a review, and have the best day ever. Please do share the channel around. Let me know if everything looks better to you, if it sounds better to you. I'm working on it. There are going to be some tweaks. I don't have people that know what they're doing. It's just me. And I get frustrated because it takes me a long time to even get this good. And I still think it doesn't look great. All right. I love each and every one of you. I'll talk to you soon.